Hello and welcome to Gist Books with Marie. I'm so glad you're here as always. How are you all doing and how is your reading journey going so far? Please let me know in the comment section. Today, we're going to be looking at a wickedly titillating book. Let's just. Today, we're going to be talking about the book titled Nearly All the Men in Neighbors Are Mad. Now, this work of fiction is the debut work of Damilare Kuku, and she is a creative artist in every sense of the word. She is a graduate of arts. She holds both a bachelor and master's degree in arts. And she is an actress, both on stage and in movies. You probably have seen her in the movie The Setup and the series Castle and Castle, the Ebony Life series. Now, let us talk about this book, Nearly All the Men Niggas Are Mad. It is a collection of tortuous stories dealing with the trope of feminist heroines who have to deal with so many relatable issues such as finding love, being heartbroken, abuse, dealing with egoistical partners, finding companionship and losing companions, and objectification, and the list goes on. This book, all the stories actually are set in contemporary Lagos, Nigeria. So it comes with every drama you know we are dealing with these days. I mean, these women are trying to find love, genuinely find love. And so we see that the point of view of the stories are told from the female perspectives, although two of the stories are told from male perspectives. Now, speaking of perspectives, I find it interesting how the writer uses this second narrative technique to tell most of the stories. I mean, she goes between the second and the first, depending on the story. But most of the time, she uses the second narrative technique. So it's a case of you woke up this morning, you took your bath, and while you were bathing, you thought of everything that has happened to you all this while. And, it's just the whole you thing. So it feels like it is your story and you are telling your story. And that works because these are short stories. It wouldn't work for a novel. Now, the first story smacks us right in the face with a really serious case. Very funny and yet not funny. Let me give it to you. One night you will calmly put a knife to your husband's arm and promise to cut it off. Did you get that? I mean, what a way to begin a story, right? And so the story is about this young lady who puts a knife to her husband's baby-making business and threatens to cut it off. And so he calls a family meeting because everyone he calls is from his side of the family and none from her side of the family. And after being questioned, we see her reminiscing, starting from the moment they met and all the things that have happened in their relationships until that particular time or night where she had to threaten to cut off his business. So that already makes you know this is going to be wild. I mean, the stories are going to be wild. So wild, but so good. My favorite story is titled Oedipus Complex, and it tells a story of two women. Actually, it's about a particular young lady called Yechdi, but she prefers to call Chidi. We've got two women in different age groups, and one thing is certain about them: they are strong, independent, and very determined women. And when they come head to head, what you see is the thing that just drives you, that makes you admire them. First, you've got this older woman who's been able to build an empire and a legacy for her son, despite doing this in an era where women weren't expected to be as grand as she was. And then on the other hand, we've got this Jide young lady who, though a graduate of geology, has decided to pick a career that her parents are not particularly proud of, not even her lover is interested or proud of. But these women will come together and you will see power played out. And I particularly like this part where the older woman says to GD, I can see you're a fighter and strong-willed. Even though we'll disagree on many things, I think those are good traits for you to have as a woman in Nigeria. And I read that and I thought to myself, no, that is facts. We say that these women will stick their necks out for what they believe in and what they are determined to have. And I really like that about them. And at the end of the day, wisdom comes to play. Now, there are various stories. Let us see if I can touch on one or two of them. The story of a pastor's wife who's tried to save her husband's reputation from being tarnished by a call girl. And there's a story of a group of women who have decided to form this club so they can encourage each other and help each other while they deal with their husband's queer preferences. There's also the story of a lady who was abused by a friend on a beautiful October day. And years later, on another beautiful October day, she has to come face to face with the reality of her past and to deal with it. And I mean, the guts it took to do that. Got to admire this women. There's a story of this young woman who is she's just had it with Nigerian men. And she thinks, okay, maybe it's time to go for boats. And on and on and on. And it's just a beautiful tale of the struggles of women generally in Lagos, Nigeria. And while Damilare tells us all this story, there's something beautiful she does. She weaves the stories like a beautiful spider. It's wickedly exciting, it's witty, and somehow when you read these books, you find yourself being drawn into this web and that strong unknown. So though the tales or the stories are relatable, they don't feel so in your face. It's just very entertaining. So I really like that about what she did with the whole telling of the stories. Now, I did find something a bit irksome, warning explicit content. That for me was the explicit way she had to go on about the move making sense. I hope you heard that. Now, maybe 7-10 years ago, I would have found that really exciting. I would map it out like a dog. But right now, I just felt, oh, it was a little much. Hey, that was me. But for young adults, I think that we'll find that really interesting. I'm just going to say this about this book. It's basically a YA novel. My takeaway from this book is Lagos women are a special breed of women. Lagos in itself is really challenging, and these women have to deal with all the craziness they get from the men folk. So, kudos. Lagos women, you're awesome. You're strong, you're strong-willed, you're great women. But another takeaway from this book will be this. It's obvious there is this decadence in our contemporary Nigerian society where romantic love is just not complete if it doesn't have all the bed rolling, tongue meeting business going on. That said, welcome to our world. The 21st century, I guess that's what they call it. I already have told you little to nothing about this book, but take it from me when I say it is sensual. Well, now, when I talk about sensual, I mean Mills and Bones desire kind of sensual. Yeah, so if you're into that kind of thing, don't hesitate to pick this book. Look, this book never stays long on shelves. Once you walk into a bookshop and it's on the shelf, it's on the shelf the next minute. That is how this book is being washed. So get a copy for yourself and enjoy. Let me know in the comment section if you have already read this book and what do you think about the stories? How wild are they? Let me know. I'd like to read your comments. You know I always look forward to your comments. And until I come your way again soon, don't forget to press that like button, share this video, and if you haven't subscribed, what are you waiting for? Thank you so much for subscribing, liking, and sharing. Do stay blessed, do stay meeting, and do stay reading. Ciao!